Hey everyone, this is Zenith, her voice, her stories. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I have a story that's going to keep you on the edge of your seat. So grab a seat, get comfortable, and get ready. Because what you're about to hear is full of twists, emotions, and lessons you won't forget. If you enjoy videos like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let's dive in. The young woman you see on the screen is Nia Wilson, just 18 years old. She's stepping off the train to make a transfer like so many other people that day. But look again. This time, don't focus on the girl. Instead, watch the man behind her wearing a white and gray hoodie. He follows closely as she exits the train. Moments later, he pulls down his hood and removes his sunglasses. He glances around, as if mapping out an escape route. Watch his hands carefully. His movements are quick and deliberate. He bends down slightly and pulls a knife from the cuff of his pants. Look closely. That object he just touched is a knife. He quickly hides it under the sleeve of his hoodie, keeping it ready. And yet, no one at the station has noticed a thing. Nia is heading home with her two older sisters, Tashe and Lat. They had just called their father to tell him they'd be home soon. As they wait for the train doors to open, the man strikes. Panic spreads instantly. Taking advantage of the chaos, he blends into the crowd, running down the stairs and out through the station exit. He gestures to get the officers to come up and run to help the girls. The officers, unaware of what is happening, let him get away. He manages to leave the station without anyone following him. He runs to a nearby parking structure, where he changes his clothes, packing the other outfit into a backpack and takes off his shoes and his sweatpants. Then he runs toward a nearby bus stop and pretends to be disabled so he can get on the bus for free. Moments later, he gets off the bus and disappears. He thought he had planned everything perfectly to escape justice. But in this video, police will uncover the crucial mistake he made during his escape, the very clue that would lead to his capture and bring justice for the attack on the sisters. It's July 22nd, 2018, around 9:45 p.m., when Nia's father receives a frantic call from his daughter. Without knowing what he was about to find, he immediately got into his car and drove to the transit system. All he knew was that his daughters were in trouble. But what he saw there was far worse than anything he could have ever imagined.
Up to the ambulance and police, I see them loading Latifah in the ambulance. I see blood dripping down her arm, and I asked her what happened. She just said, "Go check on Nia." I turn around, I run up the stairs, I bark, and I see my daughter's body. It's the hardest thing I ever experienced in my life, seeing my baby dead.
Impossible for Nia's father to comprehend what he was seeing. In less than 3 minutes after being stabbed in the neck, Nia had died. Her father also faced the heartbreaking task of calling her mother, Alicia. When Alicia heard what had happened, she was devastated and in disbelief. She left her home in Sacramento immediately and drove straight to...
It was like the longest, quietest, because you know I kept on waiting on them to call back and say she okay. But it never happened.
As the family tried to process the attack, Latifah, Nia, and Tashe's sister, was fighting for her life in the hospital after being stabbed as well. The family was in complete shock, asking themselves who could have done this and why.
To figure out, like, do I know him from somewhere? Did we have an interaction with him in any way, shape, or form? Because who is this? And why did he target us? I just felt like rage.
This is the parents' worst nightmare. That's my baby girl laying up there. I want justice for my daughter.
Even though it happened in a crowded place, the man managed to escape, walking right past security guards and police officers. No one knew who he was or where he went, but security cameras captured the attack, the moments leading up to it, and the man's escape afterward. As investigators reviewed the footage, a breakthrough emerged. The video showed the man inside a nearby parking structure, leaving his backpack before running toward the bus stop. Just a few hours after the attack, police found the bag. Inside were several personal items that allowed them to identify the man's face. John Lee Cowell, 27 years old, is a convicted felon on parole. In the past, he has been sentenced for assault with a deadly weapon and armed robbery. There doesn't appear to be any connection between him and the Wilson family. But there's still hope for more details about the attack. Nia's sister Latifah is recovering in the hospital.
I remember pulling up to Highland, and from then on, it was kind of a blur. And then I seen my brother, then my dad come in, and I'm like, where's Nia? And he hesitated. And my dad ended up telling me, and that's when I tried to get out the bed. And my brother was like, don't get up, don't get up.
Latifah learns what happened to Nia, and with her attacker still at large, the distraught family is desperate for answers. Still recovering from her own injuries, she recounts all the events of that fatal night. Just hours before the attack, Nia, Latifah, and Tashia had been visiting family. Their aunt Teresa had been diagnosed with a terminal illness, and the family wanted to spend time with her. They headed to the metro station to return home to Oakland. As soon as the man saw them on the escalator toward the platform, he marked them as his victims. The girls waited about 15 minutes for the train. Security footage shows him watching them the entire time, planning his attack. When they walked toward the doors, the stranger put on a hoodie, grabbed his backpack, and followed them. He entered the train and sat near the sisters. For several stops, he observed them from behind his sunglasses, but did not approach. When the sisters arrived at MacArthur Station around 9:35 p.m., they moved to get off the train for their transfer, and he followed. Tashia got on the next train first. Then, a woman with a baby in a stroller began to exit through the doors, and Latifah and Nia waited on the platform. But suddenly, Tashia saw blood. Nia had been stabbed twice in the neck.
She don't see us because she's backing up, but the baby like this at Nia, and Nia, hi baby. And me and Nia proceeded to walk onto the BART train, but all you hear is, and Nia flung forward. And before I know, I could turn back to me, and that's when Nia screamed my name.
I seen Nia, it was like she tripped. I was in shock. I didn't know what to do at that moment.
And Latifah, who was with her on the platform, had also been stabbed before the attacker fled. The woman with the stroller quickly threw her baby-esque blanket over Nia and pressed it against her neck.
The doors had closed and then they had reopened, and then I started screaming, trying to go find help. I believe an officer came and talked to me. I was just like, go help my sister, just make sure she's okay.
Trying to stop the bleeding and save her sister, the security guard pushed her aside. But Latifah didn't worry about her own injuries at that moment. All she could think about was her sister.
And all I could think of is like apply pressure. I'm not knowing if I'm hurting her. I'm not knowing if I'm making it. And then I turned around and the security guard just grabbed me. It was like, you've been stabbed too.
Nearly 12 hours after the attack, hope was renewed in bringing the man to justice. When the police shared his photo and information with the public,
I still feel that guilt of I couldn't save her. She just yelled my name. Tifa, Tifa, Tifa.
And what did you say to her in those final moments as you were with her?
I love her. And we're gonna get through this. And I said, I got you, baby, I got you. You're my baby sister.
the man was a complete stranger to the family, and they feared the attack might have been racially motivated. Although police had recovered the footage and the backpack.
He is a violent felon who is currently on parole, and we currently have an active arrest warrant for his arrest for the murder of Nia.
But when I tell you all my brothers, sisters, cousins, everybody was looking for him.
It took them more than 12 hours to release the madness information to the public, and people began to worry that the killer might never be caught unless they drew attention themselves. Posts about Nia spread rapidly across social media with the hashtag #SayHerName, which had begun as a campaign to raise awareness about young black girls who were victims of police brutality. Outrage grew, and around 1,000 members of the community gathered. At the train station for a vigil in Nia Wilson, determined to make her story heard, even though so many people were searching for the man who killed Nia. It seemed as though he had vanished. But during the vigil, police received an anonymous call that completely reopened the case. The caller said they were on a public transit train and recognized someone on board who matched the description of the suspect. It could be John Lee. The train was heading directly to MacArthur Station, the very place where the crime had occurred and where the vigil was being held. Police didn't know if the man intended to harm anyone else, so officers rushed to intercept and arrest him before it was too late, before losing the chance to bring him to justice. They waited at the train station, hoping to catch him by surprise. When the train arrived, officers began searching everywhere but couldn't find him. However, at a nearby station, about 20 minutes away, officers searched another train, and this time, they found the man standing right in the middle of the road.
See you in a minute. What's your name, sir? John Cowell.
He did not resist or try to run, and officers arrested him without incident less than 24 hours after the attack. The manhunt had finally come to an end. John Lee Cowell was tried in February 2020, and because he had a history of mental illness, he pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. When he testified, he claimed that he believed the sisters were aliens who had kidnapped his grandmother, even after being repeatedly warned by the judge to stop his insults.
He made a mockery out of it, like the things he was talking about up there because he wanted to play crazy.
At one point, I intended to play the video to demonstrate that he knew what he was doing. He started screaming, yelling, cussing at me, telling me that I knew he was innocent, and simply disrupting the courtroom.
Cowell continued cursing at the prosecutor and was eventually removed from the courtroom. The footage from the night of the stabbing made it clear that he had planned the attack. He waited, had a change of clothes ready, and deliberately targeted the sisters instead of anyone else at the train station. Prosecutors also considered charging him with a hate crime, but due to the difficulty of proving racial motivation, the district attorney decided to pursue charges of premeditated murder with special circumstances of stalking.
There were many women and people who entered into the BART platform. He did not focus on any of them. As soon as he saw 3 young African-American women, he fixated on them, and every indication, every angle of the surveillance makes that very clear. While he was in custody, he went out of his way to engage an African-American deputy and proceeded to call her lots of racial slurs as well. There's no doubt in my mind that the assault was racially motivated.
You killed her because of her skin. You didn't kill her for anything else.
Since he had watched and followed them onto the train before attacking them at the station, the family agreed, hoping to see him sent to prison for the rest of his life.
Do you all believe that he was insane at the time that he committed the murder?
No, not at all. Not at all. And you said he knew what he was doing, right?
Exactly. He knew how to hop on that train, didn't he? He knew how to get off where his stop was, wherever. He knew what he was doing.
Exactly. We were surrounded by so many people on that BART.
Here, let me bring it. When you go in there and you see him sitting in that chair, how do you feel when you look at him?
I want to bust his head.
I feel like violated, disrespected. Like my daughter don't get the chance to even breathe the air he breathes. She don't get to breathe that though, you know. And he just get to look around like something is wrong. Nothing wrong. Let's just keep it real and let's just do what we're here to do. So us as a family could go on and just remember her for the good things and keep her legacy alive.
During the trial, investigators uncovered a chilling piece of evidence. While in jail, John Lee Cowell made a recorded phone call to his therapist, asking how he could act insane to avoid prison.
Mr. Cowell was happy to speak to his mental health caregivers because Mr. Cowell had mental health issues. There's no disputing that. But he also was forthcoming that he needed to stop taking his medication so that he could appear more crazy when the trial started. I think it was an absolute show.
Exposed his attempt to manipulate the system and proved that his claim of insanity was nothing but a lie. The jury listened in silence as the recording played, revealing his calm, calculated voice. It was the final piece that showed he knew exactly what he was doing the night he attacked Nia and with all the evidence laid out, the surveillance footage, the eyewitness accounts, and the recorded call, the truth was undeniable. Justice was finally served for Nia Wilson. Though her life was taken too soon, her story continues to echo as a reminder of strength, unity, and love.
Spend the rest of his life in prison, so I really think justice was served.
Rest in peace, Nia. You will never be forgotten.
What a story, right? If you love hearing real-life stories like this, you're in the right place. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel so you never miss a story. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.